Hi, my name is Sabreena Delhon, and I'm the CEO of the Samara Center for Democracy. Tonight, I'll be sharing some of our research that relates to polarization, and I'll explain how and why it is important for us to tell some better stories about our democracy. Some background to start: the Samara Center is a registered charity. We produce nonpartisan, evidence based insights about how to strengthen Canadian democracy. Let me tell you about our Sandbot project, which uses machine learning to measure abusive content received by candidates in Canadian elections on X, previously Twitter. Since 2021, we've analyzed over 4 million tweets received by over 1,000 candidates across a dozen elections at federal, provincial, and municipal levels. Across our reports, we found that candidates from all levels of government, from MPs to school board trustees, face high volumes of abuse online. We've seen LGBTQ plus rights are a particular vector for abuse, and that candidates from marginalized communities are targeted online. Women get some of the most personal and misogynistic content. Our most recent reports have found that only a handful of accounts are responsible for a disproportionate amount of abuse that we track. In our analysis of the 2023 Toronto mayoral by-election, we found that just 30 users accounted for 10% of all abusive tweets. In our forthcoming report on the 2023 Alberta election, we found that just 200 users published 12% of all tweets sent to candidates and political parties. Here is a small number of highly active users that are generating a disproportionate amount of abuse, shaping the story about the health of our democracy. This skews online political conversations, making them more hostile and less representative of the views of actual Canadians. This is enabled by social media platforms that amplify divisive content. The spread of abusive content normalizes hateful discourse and physical violence. It produces unsafe working conditions for active citizens. This all fuels affective polarization, as Justin mentioned. This means that Canadians see themselves as more divided, and they experience more negative feelings towards those with different political views. It doesn't mean that Canadians are truly more divided, but there's a perception that we are, and this is a major concern. This creates a defining story about our democracy that is dark, and it obscures the abundant local acts of civic engagement that are happening in our communities every day. One of the most dangerous aspects of polarization is that it is self-reinforcing. The Canadian public has been polled extensively about our feelings on polarization. This then spurs conversations about how divided we are, and it leaves the public feeling scared, disempowered, and disconnected. The Canadian public has been asked much less about what we want to see in our politics, what we hope the future holds for our democracy. If we want to address the 21st century challenges that we're facing related to trust, risk, and information, we need curious, imaginative, and proactive approaches. This requires nuanced research that isn't just observing from afar and producing fast facts. We need research that is responsive, that is exploring how diverse Canadians are connected on policy issues, as well as the ways in which we disagree. These rich stories can shape informed solutions that help to build trust between the public and our institutions. This requires two things: a culture of continuous improvement when it comes to our democracy, and adequate funding for the nonpartisan organizations that can produce this meaningful work. This kind of shift would give us some new stories to work from and could make a real difference in truly tackling the problem of polarization. Thank you.